Now listen, I didn't want to commit to the airplane because I did not want to be accused of jinxing it. You know I have that kind of power because I'm 2-0 at Villa Park. But let's get this out of the way straight off the top. Our plane left Birmingham, England on August 6th, 2022, hit turbulence straight away at Bournemouth. But since then, since Unai Emery has arrived, we have landed somewhere in Europe. Mission accomplished. We're going to try to qualify for the Europa Conference League proper. And you know what? With Unai Emery at the helm for an entire season and some help from these two legends with strategic and quality signings during the summer, there is no reason to think that we can't qualify for the Champions League proper next year. Let's discuss Aston Villa 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Mark Warham kindly shared these scenes with us from the Lower Doug Ellis. What a way to end the season, to do the double over an extremely well-constructed and well-managed team. Had we picked up just one more win or perhaps had one less loss, we might have finished in 6th this season. We needed Unai Emery much, much earlier. Did you get promotion vibes during this game, that kind of stress? I had one of those stress headaches after this game. I still have it now. Back then, during the promotion game, I thought I was having a stroke. I was tingling on one side. But honestly, you could not have dreamed of a better scenario than this. And so for the final time this season, it's the Holy Trinity show and the 3 key issues or moments that defined Aston Villa 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1, starting with the key statistics, which were mixed in some respects because Villa did create some really good chances. I looked at interceptions as sort of a signpost as to how the team did in midfield because we won a lot of those battles. But XG favored us heavily. Lots of shot volume on target decent. We were below average on accurate passing. Created 4 big chances, but look at that. 13-3 on the interception front. That was a reflection of hard work, good anticipation, and great structure. Do you know what? Let's do this here. Let's get this out of the way. It is our final tally of our points tally. And you know, at Villa Park this season, Villa took 2 out of every 3 points. That's good. Can we improve on the away record? Sure we can. There was 1 for and 1 against on the VAR department. We ended on the positive side of the ledger. Ollie Watkins finally got goal number 15, but Villa's 2 main goal getters need more than 19 next year. We conceded again from a set piece, -7 on the season. That could be improved upon. And against the top 6, 14 points out of a possible 39. Can you improve there? Probably. Can you improve on clean sheets? You probably could as well. Lots to reflect on, many things to improve on, so much optimism for 23-24. Big issue. Aston Villa matured as a football club and a squad over the course of the season, particularly since Unai Emery arrived, and the best example of that, as much as they hurt at the time, but the losses to Leicester and Arsenal at home, having led 2-1 in both of those games, may have had an impact in the game on Sunday. Imagine where we would have been if we had extended or seen those 2 games out. We didn't, but I think we learned from it. Brighton is an excellent side, but you could see examples of where we controlled the game at the right moments, where we have grown in our confidence and our decision-making, and maybe, as difficult as those 2 losses were at the time, they somehow had a hand in us seeing this through. Here's a big issue, not only in this game, but in this season, and it is going to affect us going forward. Our squad versus their squad. They were able to bring on Estupiñán, Caicedo, and Matoma, among others. We brought on Emi Buendia, and that was it. And amazingly, it didn't affect the game, which says a lot to the group that went, for the most part, 90 minutes. But imagine if we could add quality, we can upgrade in all the key areas of the field. And in games like that, 2-1 or 1-0, we bring on a fresh set of legs that can impact the game positively, especially at home, where we seem to be becoming this pinch the ball and break quickly type team, a transitional team at times, a possession team at some times. But if we have some quality at the end of those breaks into the front third, well, then maybe the nervy 2-1 or 1-0 games become more comfortable 2-0 or 3-1 or 4-1 games. We absolutely and positively, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we must upgrade the squad significantly over the next couple of months. I truly wonder how close Aaron Ramsey and Cameron Archer really are to the first team, because now we have the excuse. We're going to have extra games. Often, if we get through the playoff round as early as August, we're going to need the extra bodies. Not to mention the it kid right now, Omari Kellerman, part of another Hong Kong Sevens winning side for Villa. So the pruning is going to happen at one end, and the additions and upgrades are going to happen at the other. We know this is what's being discussed right now by the Brain Trust. What happens to Traore, Bailey, Buendia, Callum Chambers, Cash, maybe Dean? How about the loanees that have had successful seasons? Can we convert Sanson and Nakamba into some incoming money? And then, can you upgrade in 3 different ways, maybe in 3 different positions, while also promoting some of our academy youth? What an exciting time! Big issue, VAR's overturning the 1-1 goal by Dennis Undav, and a big shout out to Nathan Page and the Aston Villa groundskeeping crew for having the pitch look like a billiard table again, but their line cuts certainly helped make it easy to see that the first ball over the top was definitely offside. However, 1-1 there would have certainly changed the mood, mentality, and complexion of the game. Big issue, Boubacar Kamara was great in this game. 93% passing accuracy, which was well above our entire team's average. In fact, that included 2 out of 2 long balls. He also went 3 for 3 in successful dribbles, 8 out of 12 ground duels won, and this was in a midfield where he was routinely being hunted down by Alexis McAllister, who played right in his wheelhouse. I wonder, as I have wondered all year, where would Aston Villa be? How much higher up the table could we have been if Boubacar Kamara had been fit all season? Big issue number 3, early exploits. And this has been a theme all season for Aston Villa, scoring inside the first 15 minutes of a match. They had 13 goals in the first quarter hour of the season, which puts them next to Arsenal and Liverpool with the same amounts atop the Premier League. Brighton was next, actually, with 12. Obviously, you score first, especially at home. You get the crowd into it. You get some momentum behind you and some early confidence. Maybe you force the other team to chase a little bit. And Villa seems to have this methodology right now where they're hitting teams as they're committing men forward. Where the improvement has to occur, however, is in minutes 30 to 45, where Villa is -7 on the season, scoring 4 and conceding 11, including in this game. And I'm sure that's something that Professor Unai is already looking at and analyzing, and will be prepared to address for next season. This goal was utterly gorgeous. We'll talk about the provider in just a moment, but Douglas Luiz has blossomed over the course of this season, and what we're looking at, in my estimation, is a £50 million central midfielder. He has class, he has confidence, he is capable of scoring, providing he has a little bit of bite every once and again, and to have a model number 8 in our team like him, it's what we've been looking for so long. And to be in that position, you've got to attack once in a while. You've got to join in the box, overload in the box. And then when you get into those positions, you got to take them. And on this one, he plants it. He plants it and he places it. He's now just entering his prime. 6 goals, 6 assists to match his shirt number. Big issue number 2. High press perfection. You think Villa's organized at the back with their line and how tight it is sometimes and how well everybody vacates their own defensive third? Well, the same thing was happening in the front third for Villa. In fact, they were dominant in the fringes of Brighton's defensive third, our attacking third, and then the neutral area. We won the ball back a lot there. And it all starts with the front running. Ollie Watkins is a power, relentless runner. And he dictates where he wants the opposition to play the ball. McGinn did a good job of this as well. And once he guides the ball into the channel that he wants, you have the others waiting to pounce. Luiz, Kamara, sometimes Ramsey, sometimes Bailey, sometimes even our central defenders. And so Brighton could not accelerate through the middle third, which is part of their bread and butter. They are a phenomenal team on the break. And I have to say that playing midweek against Manchester City probably didn't help them either, even with all the fresh legs they brought on, and Villa looked shattered by the end as well. But it was doing the ugly bits, the ugly running, and winning the duels and all the battles in the central part of midfield. That paid off in the end. Now, some of the metrics I looked at to support my eyeball theory that we actually dominated the middle third of the field included a number I showed you earlier, interceptions. We had 13 of them, but also duels, ground duels, and successful dribbles. We comfortably beat Brighton on Sunday. And you know why? One of the biggest reasons? John McGinn. He was everywhere. At times, he was our farthest forward player initiating the press. And then when Buendia came on, he shifted back out to the right to help with Matoma, who was a handful for cash, and he had to do so on a yellow card with a third of the game left. This central midfield for me is fascinating going into the transfer season because you got McGinn, Luiz, and Kamara. Who do you upgrade from those three? Do you need to? Do you just need depth? I would say Kamara of the three only because of his age and his injury history. Is that why? Maybe we're linked to Manuel Ugarte from Sporting, the Uruguayan. Could Guendouzi play all three of those positions? Yeah, he kind of can at 23, 24, just entering his prime. Ooh, the midfield is going to be an interesting one in the offseason. And the number one big issue or moment that defined Aston Villa 2, Brighton Hove Albion 1, Ramsey, resplendent. On his 22nd birthday, Jacob Ramsey turned in the performance of a lifetime when we needed it the most. Was there better a performance than Jacob Ramsey's in this game? I don't think so. Remember, he was the one who set up Leon Bailey for the pelter that actually deflected and went off the crossbar. If that didn't take a deflection there, it's 1-0 even earlier. Then on the goal, he freezes Veltman. He does not show anything to the fullback there. I thought he was going to carry on and accelerate and take it to the byline. Nope. He froze Veltman, played it right past him for Luiz to tuck away. There were other moments as well. I mean, he probably should have scored the 3-1 goal. He didn't expect the ball, I don't think, to make it to him. You always have to. That was inches from a goal. And then he almost added a third assist when he set up, or at least tried to set up, Ollie Watkins. We've watched this young man, this Villa through and through young man, bloom right before our eyes. And on a day when it counted the most, at what is clearly his favorite ground to play in the Premier League, the kid delivered. He was man of the match. On the game-winning goal, he had to make a split-second decision to release the ball before he got clobbered by the goalkeeper, which he did. And Jacob Ramsey contributed 2 of the biggest assists of the season that got Aston Villa Football Club, his football club, into Europe. And as I said to you last week, where is this guy's ceiling? Because he hasn't even reached his prime yet. Sunday was his 22nd birthday. Is his biggest weapon his pace or his ability to dribble at that pace? 4 out of 4 on successful dribbles on the day. 2 assists to make it 7 on the season, in addition to his 6 goals. He set up 3 chances, 2 of them big ones, and we got to watch Jacob Ramsey this season blossom into the footballer that he is. And he still has room to grow. What a privilege that was. Next up, footballing-wise, probably a trip down the road to Walsall and the Banksies, where they always have the traditional game in the summer sun, and then it's off to the eastern part of the United States for the preseason tour, followed by the Europa Conference League. And it will start with a two-legged aggregate series in which Villa is seeded. You get through those two legs, you're into the group stages. And initially, I was probably feeling a little bit snooty and snobbish towards the Europa Conference League. I wanted so badly to be in the Emery League because he's won 4 titles in that competition. But you know what? Looking around at some of the potential suitors in the conference, some grand and famous old clubs that have kind of fallen by the wayside lately, beautiful grounds and simply gorgeous and stunning countries and cities. And so I've come around a little bit of my snobbishness towards the competition. And when you think about the potential television and extra gate revenue, estimated to be about an additional 20 million quid, that's nothing to sneeze at, in addition to being exposed more to other places in Europe where the Villa brand can be extended. When I started getting excited was when I looked around the other European leagues to see who else had qualified for the conference competition. There's some names in there and some trips. Osasuna in Spain. What about Juventus in Italy? They dropped down. Then you have classic Hajduk Split, or maybe a Partizan in Belgrade. Or what about Bayer Leverkusen, Leon Bailey's old team, or Club Brugge? Maybe a trip to Portugal and Sporting CP. How about up to Aberdeen for some whiskey tasting? Or maybe back to Stade Rennais, where Villa had a preseason game last year. West Ham, last year at this stage, went into that two-legged knockout playoff round against a small Danish team called Viborg. They won comfortably, and like West Ham, Villa will be seeded, but it's a complicated process because you have domestic cup winners, domestic cup runners-up. Some haven't been qualified yet. Then you have teams dropping down from the early rounds of the Emery League. We'll just have to see, but the fun starts in August. Early August with the draw. So what's next for the show, which just celebrated its 2-year anniversary this past week, which is utterly incredible when you think about it. That wouldn't have happened without your eyeballs, your ears, your support, your wonderful comments, which I read after every single episode that I put out. The fact that you supported me enough to help send me to England for the first time in 43 years, which was a life-altering moment that helped me not only see Villa Park live and experience it, but also meeting some very important people, one of whom has become the title sponsor of this show. I can't wait to introduce you to him and his business, which I'm going to ask you to support. The Villa kit launch is coming imminently. By the way, I'll have a link for the new kit for you right away. It's not going to cost you any more to use that link because I'm going to need to buy some as well. In fact, I got to replace pretty much everything thanks to the new badge. Honestly, it has been such an incredible season on the field, off the field, optimism, hope. And I feel privileged is the only way that I could put it, to be serving the Villa community in this way, doing these shows, which I love to do, and the ability to do just these shows and nothing else. And to be doing so at a time when Villa is in this incredible ascendancy, is like this, well, it's a gift from the universe, quite frankly. I am so filled with gratitude and excitement. I can't sleep sometimes thinking about all of this. And imagine if you're a young Villa fan, like, Summer and Finlay Willits, for example, and you've been supporting Villa and all you know is this exciting time of yours. Kind of like me when I was 10 and got switched on to Villa, Ron Saunders, Tony Barton winning things. I thought, we're always going to win things. That's why you have to savor each and every moment of this unbelievable journey. Now, for the final time this regular season, and until the next time, which I feel could be close, actually, given Villa's history of doing business early in the window, I will say to you, be well, savor it all, treasure it, and most importantly, up the mighty Villa!